Or cat.
Oh, kitty.
Oh, kitty.
No, we're killing cats. We're barking like dogs, and we're murdering cats.
That's right.
Yes, that cat is the most dangerous of all animals.
Yes,
It only eats the flesh of human children.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, a zombie is a little yellow
Sometimes
flower.
I am glad he is not bigger than me.
Okay, so here's a question.
And your brother is over the fence, and you can never talk to him.
George, right?
Okay, so is there any point in this movie besides when she says keyboard instead of vagina where they actually use the wrong word for something?
Oh,
zombie.
There's a ton.
No, they tell them that.
Oh, okay.
They tell them all the wrong words, but besides the keyboard,
like it works its way into conversation.
Right.
The kids are using the wrong word that they've been taught.
Yeah, at the dinner table, she says, "Can you pass me the telephone?" And she.
Oh, right. Yes, there's
yeah.
that too. There's that too.
It's wonderfully demonstrative.
Where the fuck are you?
Yeah, it's great because it's talking about like these kids are completely sheltered, and it was a heck of a thing. We start. I guess we're starting now.
That's an understatement.
I think we've already started.
Yeah. So this was some of the most perverted
This is a whole
I've
new
ever
meaning
seen.
of the term homeschooling.
So, John, Scott, before you dunk on this,
I'm not dunking. It's
That's Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert specifically called this out about like the dangers of homeschooling.
Yeah.
I read something that I kind of tended to like, which is that back to allegories. This is an allegory about religion.
okay.
And I was sort of down with that.
Let's open it up. But I do think that we all at this point probably know that Yorgos is a pretty
Provocative
filmmaker. He's an auteur of sorts.
What would you call his approach? I mean,
Provocateur.
He's a provocateur.
Provocateur.
Well, we got the Sacred Deer, which is all about this.
Yeah, the Sacred Deer. But has anyone?
I love The Lobster.
I actually just really I recently rewatched The Lobster. Who's seen that?
I
didn't care for it, but I watched it.
Oh, I think it's phenomenal. It's actually better. It's actually better on multiple viewings, and it's actually a real comedy, which I think you could argue.
All right, I'll give you that.
Until you get to the end.
David Lynch.
It's a comedy where they blind a woman intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious.
Okay. Hilarious.
David Lynch thinks this is a comedy, so I don't subscribe to that theory.
I'll tell you where this movie became.
The Favorite is a comedy. That's my favorite Yorgos film because it leans into the comedy. His movies are so fucking cruel and unpleasant.
You got it, John. That's exactly what that's the center of it.
Okay.
This reminded me a lot of The Lobster in that it sets up a completely artificial situation in order to torment the characters.
I laughed when she cut his arm with the knife.
Fuck, man.
I laughed when after she does the brutal act of
taking her own tooth out.
That's rough.
Dude, that was okay. First of all, can we just how awesome that effect, like that whole scene.
It was amazing.
It looked real.
Realistic.
Yes.
But when she runs out, right? She gets in the trunk. But then when the father notices the bloody sink and the whole family runs out, I literally laughed when the little sister's all, Bruce!
Yeah.
Oh,
Bruce!
The thing where she starts quoting...
Okay, that's funny. That was funny.
The earlier, when she's quoting Jaws and Rocky, that was fantastic.
Oh, God.
This is so funny.
Is she running the goddamn Robert Shaw lines from Jaws?
She was. Yes. She was. And she was also...
This is Rocky, and then in the pool she did Jaws.
Yeah, I know. It was the best. It was...
It's like chances that these knuckleheads caught the shark that killed all those people.
Yeah, exactly. It was so wonderful.
Because Christina gave her the VHSs and she watched
That's right. And of course, they were the two of the most distinctive films of the 70s. So it's like, it was good stuff. Also, everybody just, for what it's worth, I thought everybody did a fantastic job in this. All the actors just above and beyond.
I can't fault the filmmaking. I think it's very well made. It absolutely hits all the notes it wants to hit. It tonally, and the performances and the framing, which we commented on, I think, in the chat.
Oh, we didn't really.
The head going out of the frame. You want to hear the explanation, John? This is very interesting. Lanthimos filmed this entire movie with one lens. One 50 millimeter anamorphic lens. That's it. And
I think it's supposed to. I think
whoa. So there, that excuses the weird random cutting off.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't excuse. Listen, it means he composed purposefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
I
he's
think-
trying to get.
I
He's
think
trying
it's
to,
supposed to-
He's
I
down
think
to
it's-
one point of view. Basically, he
I
wants
think
to
it's
see-
supposed to look like surveillance cameras, like nanny cams.
Yeah.
Like
a little bit.
I think it's supposed to be almost any time. Like the cameras don't move
I think it's a little
around
more
very
artistic than that, though. I
much.
think he knew what he was doing, and he wanted to do something.
Oh, he knew
Well,
what
no,
he was doing.
But that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
is I think it's supposed to emulate, like you're supposed to be watching this like you're watching security footage of the family. Like you're
Kinda,
not
yeah.
I
you're
would
not
explain a couple of things.
you're not a fly in this movie. You're a fixed point of view in every room.
Yeah.
There's some places where this is kind of Wes Anderson-y.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree with that.
Like right,
Scott.
behind me,
Oh, for sure.
which is
I
but
just love his. I love his sensibility as a filmmaker. I love his lens. I love all of his films, and I think this is the first thing I ever saw from him.
Huh.
oh really? Oh, so
Yeah.
you saw his stuff in order, basically.
I saw Lobster first.
Same here.
Mhm, same here.
This was the first movie I saw from him, and I couldn't forget it. I couldn't get it out of my head.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, what the fuck? Who is this filmmaker? And then The Lobster came, and it just reiterated how much I think he's a special filmmaker.
For me, I didn't like The Lobster for all the reasons I already stated. And to me, watching this was like, yeah, this is by the guy that made The Lobster.
Yeah. It is a very cruel film, and it is.
Well, and we saw.
I mean-
the show, we've already done. We did the Sacred Deer on the show, right?
yeah, which is
Yeah.
a very cruel, but it's a supernatural cruel
Who
film. now.
chose
Yeah.
the Sacred Deer? Was that you, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. Loved
I
it.
mean, I can't deny the guy's got talent.
No,
It's just fucking unpleasant, man.
it is.
I
It's really
I found this-
unpleasant.
It's
I
unpleasant.
found this-
I like unpleasantness. Sometimes.
Yeah,
found
I
this
know,
movie-
Jared.
I found this movie really boring.
Chris and I like unpleasantness.
No,
I-
I think I'm on your
also-
wavelength with that shit.
Like I really found this movie boring.
no,
I
you
found
thought it was
kind of-
boring?
I found it meandering and perfunctory. Like I didn't enjoy this. Like I wasn't disturbed by it at all because
Dad,
it just
You need me to lick your shoulder? I'll lick your shoulder.
Exactly.
Nah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
Oh
maybe he
man,
needs
that shit.
not big on touching.
I can lick
Um,
your elbow.
the-
I'll lick your ear if you want.
I just it didn't disturb me because it felt like it was trying too hard. Like it was just like whatever. You
No, I don't
know,
think
Like,
it's-
oh, this will make a big splash at
This is
cans.
This is like a bizarre world of Wes Anderson. I'm with Scott.
No, it's
Yeah.
flowers in the attic.
Why do you think the dad like brought basically a hooker? It was actually probably worked at the company he was at.
That's
She's
the
a
one-
security guard at the
Yeah,
company.
she's a
security guard.
Yeah.
And he paid her to fuck.
Because he felt that her son needed that service, I guess.
well,
I
to
guess
deal
so.
with his sexuality. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about the daughters? They didn't need anything
Apparently
until
they
he
did that.
decided.
Maybe that was the flaw
Well,
in their
then
plan.
when Christina betrayed him and he beat her over the head with a VCR.
That was
Nice.
Was that two on a nose or what?
So then he had sex with his sister. It was
I
horrible.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice 10-minute incest scene.
I mean, I kind of saw that from the beginning. It's like, well, there's only one place this is going.
Yeah, and it
It's
went
the most
there.
unsexy movie I've ever seen.
No, no, it's not.
No,
It's-
but that's
It
sort of
is
the
not
point.
sexy.
No,
There's so
that's
much
sort of
sex
the
in it.
point. Listen, when you have this control.
Cut to a random blowjob porn.
Yes, exactly. Chris, that's the point.
Oh, I know.
I think there's a part of this movie which is the way sex is treated in this movie is supposed to be unsexy. It's mundane. It's like anything else in the world.
Well, the parents put on the headphones when they have
Like
sex,
watching a
you know,
Right.
like, and then she gets pregnant.
Mhm.
So, okay, here's my question.
But she wasn't pregnant. They're just saying that to like
Right.
tell the kids.
But here's my question. Do you think there was another brother and he went so far outside of the rules that the dad just fucking killed him and then told them that he was living on the other
That's a
side
good-
of the wall?
That's a good
It's quite
theory.
possible. It is quite possible.
You know, like,
I actually
like
at first thought that I was so taken with this movie. I thought that at first he thought the fence was the brother.
Also, you could
Like
look
you
at
could
this.
tell an inanimate object was your brother.
You know, they could also look at this as the parents had a plan. The plan was to raise the kids at home for the rest of their lives, and them never going outside and always protecting them, basically.
It's like a Skinner box.
But sexuality, what happens when you grow up, is the thing that wrecked their plans. It's kind of like, you know, what got inside Vortex 4.
The daughter.
So it's Adam and Eve's story, sort of.
Yeah, kind of thing. It's just like they could not stop sexuality from happening to their kids.
Right.
And that's the one thing
Well,
undermined.
they tried to corral it.
Yeah, they tried to corral it,
Fucked
exactly.
up way possible.
Try to control it and corral it or ignore it, and it's
And in the
it's like an
process of
inevitable thing.
corralling
And
it,
this is
they
like,
bring
again, it's like
Ellen
Zardoz
in,
in that respect.
shows
This movie doesn't ever explain why the parents are doing the thing that they're doing.
No,
It's
not
just,
once.
You are immersed in this world.
There's no explanation that they could give that would be worthy of the world that exists. Like
Yeah.
anything that they said, anything that the filmmaker said,
It would pop the bubble.
right. Well, but it would never be enough. It would
Yeah.
never be.
No.
It would never be like the
don't
fact
even
that
address
the fact that the motivation is so nebulous
Yeah.
is what makes it a better story.
But also,
And-
the overall acting is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, the acting's great.
Oh yeah. Also, this is the most in media res movie I've ever seen. You're
Right.
in the middle of a real situation when this thing starts. You know what I mean?
Right. And you don't get any backstory.
You
It's
don't
just
get-
here we
no,
are.
not one
I mean, these
iota
kids,
of-
they look of age.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them are under 18 in this.
no, they're
Oh,
probably
no.
on the early
No,
mid
no,
20s.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behind Chris, that whole anniversary
scene.
party scene,
That's the best scene.
so
dance.
phenomenal.
The
Yeah.
weird dance.
It's so well lit and filmed and beautiful. But yes, finally, when the older daughter just goes and dances, that was
Aggressively.
Shut that shit down.
Yeah, that was pretty insane.
But that she's
Also-
she's rebelling at that point.
None of
I'm,
y'all.
I'm
mentioned it.
confused though. She only got 2 VHSs, and one of them was Rocky, and one of them was Jaws. When did she see Flashdance?
Fair
Right.
point.
He does the flash dance move.
You don't remember the dance scene in Jaws?
No, I didn't
dance
see
off
that
with the
version.
shark near the end.
I think we
I didn't- we
think
didn't
we
have
to-
drive-ins,
I think we have to
so-
assume that Christina gave her more throughout the time.
Was that the? You think
Oh,
that was?
so you
what
think
was
there's
hinted
you think
at?
there's additional
Yeah.
visits that we don't
I think
see?
we have to assume
maybe.
that there was more VHSs. Yeah.
Well, maybe they should have explained that because again, to base one's life on just those 2 movies is not very smart.
None of you guys have mentioned it. The fucking ending's great.
It
Oh.
is.
I was
The
pissed
long-
off by the ending.
Oh, I loved it.
So
I
What
love it
happened
too. I
inside
love it
that
too.
trunk?
Hang on that.
Just the trunk.
You don't
the
know if she's
trunk.
gonna pop it or not, or she's like not trying to figure out how.
what cars can you open the trunk
Is
from
she
the
fucking
inside?
dead?
Anything
Is she
made
fucking out?
after
Is she,
1990,
Not
Okay.
that car.
but not that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, Okay, that's what I was thinking. Is like she's not going to be able to get out of there.
You're being kicked
No,
out.
in,
the
in
back
that
seat, that's
in that
about it.
situation, you have to go through the back seat
Yeah,
and get
open
out
up the ski
that
hole
way.
and
So she's
yeah,
just
that's
stuck in
What
that-
I wanted to do if I was remaking this film, I would set up in the beginning that the guy, his cover story at work is that he already lied about his wife.
Yeah.
What did he say? She was disabled or
Yeah, she's like
Yeah.
a wheelchair or something.
she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
He would either say he has no children and he would explain them away in some way.
Yeah.
Then when the daughter's in the trunk with her tooth knocked out and covered in blood, he's going to have to open that trunk at the final scene with his boss standing there or something.
Right.
There is no boss. He owns the place. He's
He owns the company?
That's
Yeah,
why
I
you're.
think
That's why you're.
that's
You're an
right.
American, John.
That's why
Yes.
he has. That's why he has the money for this giant.
Yeah, that's the
fuck
thing.
off.
This
The
is
money,
what's
the
good.
money buys you privacy, man. That's
European
all the
filmmaking.
privacy in the world. Yeah.
See, that is the American in me. I want that shot where he opens the trunk and his boss is standing there and there's his daughter
No,
that he
I'm
doesn't
with
exist.
Chris. I'm with
No,
Chris.
it-
I love that you're like, what the fuck is going
No,
to
because I'm a hack, I wanted to get
It
out,
says-
wander in
it does
the
not-
shop.
like-
Wander into the office. Yeah, sure, something.
Oh,
Give
no,
me
it was
something.
No, she gets out, wanders into the thing. You hear everybody screaming in the background, and that's the end of the film.
You made me sit through this. Come on, man. Give me
Yeah,
something.
no,
I was
The
literally
way,
like,
the way
oh,
it is,
just
the
right
way
now.
it is,
Not
the
dead.
way
I
it
don't
is, they
know.
say, is she dead? Is she going to pop out any minute? Is she,
Right.
what the fuck happened?
I love
Schrodinger's daughter.
And also, let's just one more time mention the scene where she actually busts her tooth is fucking amazing.
It's
Yeah.
How did
really
they
good.
do-
I had to look away.
There's
First
one
of all,
really
how
bad
did-
continuity.
what- no,
There's one really bad
what-
continuity error in there, but besides that, it's great.
No, but realistically, John, you and I are
Blood disappears.
Scott, you know what I'm talking about. How
Yeah.
did they do that?
No idea.
How did they
No
do
idea.
the splatter on
That
the?
might have been some digital effect.
pretty
It
good.
was one. There's no cuts.
No, it
Yeah,
was-
but you
it
did
was
that
a-
one where the guy got shot in the head and the digital blood hits the wall. And
It was a
Yes,
lockdown
but
shot.
That was
so-
that was a pump.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she's facing.
Oh, it's a pump. Okay.
She.
Hitting it.
How did they do it with?
I don't know, man.
I think they probably had. You know, what I think they had. I think they had a little teeny pump off camera underneath.
Possibly.
So
They
she
squirting the blood out of it.
and someone just pushed it up against the mirror.
They do that in that movie Scarface when they, they're killing the guy in the bathtub. You
Yeah.
see someone's obviously out there with a little pump off the side going on the
Right,
wall there.
I was so impressed. I was so impressed with that scene.
Yeah.
It's like in the first episode of the X-Files where she has the nosebleed on camera.
Yeah.
Which is the first time anyone had ever done that. Like,
Wow. I had no idea how they do it.
So she's shot in 3/4 and they ran a tube down her face.
Oh, on the
and
outside
so they
of her
just
nose.
squirted the blood
everything
down the tube
That's why I
think, like, this
behind her
was-
nose. And then the blood starts pouring out of her nose. And it's such a great scene.
That's
Like,
why this scene was so.
practical effects are rad.
Well, the 2 kilo.
The sound effects in the scene were so brutal.
Yeah. Well, it's probably the 2 kilogram weight she had was just hollow, and to squeeze it and blood came out of it. Obviously.
Yeah, I think it's a gimmick weight.
Yeah,
it could be that.
And but it just was really effective, and the sound effects really helped too because you can
Sound effects sell it.
eventually hear the tooth going clink
Oh my
into the sink.
God,
Like,
yeah.
oh, man.
And then she looks at herself, and it's all missing.
And she was
Yeah.
not. Did she not exactly look pained either? She was like kind of
No,
happy.
it's ecstatic.
He was
Yeah.
happy.
Very
It's,
happy.
ex-
Finally
it's,
got
it's,
it.
it's ecstasy.
Yeah.
Well,
like-
but hold on.
I'm free now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
There goes my dog tooth. I'm out of here.
that's what it really is. That's
Yeah.
her going. I knocked the tooth out.
I can be a
Now.
grown up now.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Not, I'm going to create a diversion that's going to force Dad to get in the car and chase me.
No.
He's gonna open that trunk. He's gonna find her in that trunk, and he's gonna fucking kill her. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Or she's gonna sneak away. We never see. We know.
No, I don't think
They were so trained though. They would walk up to the fence and stay there.
You're right.
I don't think
And
this.
bark.
I don't think
And
this
bark.
universe. I don't think this universe is kind to anyone.
No,
like,
it's not.
No.
Like she doesn't get to win. No one gets to win in
But
this
she
story.
It's not Room.
She tried her best, and
Right.
she did the best
No.
she could.
It's not. It's funny games maybe, but a different kind of thing. It's like,
Oh, even though I do, again, I found this sort of meandering and perfunctory. It's way better than Funny Games.
okay, there you go. It was also the geography of the thing was great. I love the little compound with the pool and the little
Yes.
thing, the platform.
So
like
that's
that.
one of
And
the
it's actually-
things that I
It's actually very
prefer-
beautiful to look at. This movie is very beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
it
one of the
looks like
things
go ahead.
It's one of the things I prefer about Castle of Purity is that it's a much more it's a much smaller because it's like a house with a courtyard.
Mhm.
And so it has this more claustrophobic feel. So the oppression of it is really closing in on you through the whole movie. Whereas this, you have this sort of wide open, and they picked it specifically because they're like, we have to shoot all this in one location, so
Right.
we're gonna get the biggest
Yeah,
manse that we
They
can.
want a pool. They want a big garden.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And like a forest, basically.
Yeah.
That, when
Those
they're doing the
shots are
blindfold
gorgeous. Those
thing
shots are
and they start
gorgeous.
her in the forest.
Yeah, a place to hide.
Yeah.
Well, like there's shots of just like the sun standing out there with all the greenery. It's beautiful.
yeah, it's a gorgeous looking film.
I think my favorite part in the movie is when they throw the airplane into the yard
Gonna bring
and
that up.
she
God, yeah.
fucking kicks the back of his knee out and
Yeah.
goes and grabs it.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yep.
because that's when
You
that's
gotta catch it. It's falling. You gotta catch it.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's the turn. Like,
Right.
That's the turn for her where she realizes that the violence is the way out of the situation too.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like violence isn't just something that's done to her. Violence is something because she did cut his arm, but still,
Right.
like she has
Oh,
realized
dude.
that
But how-
violence
how-
can.
How brutal! We've all seen so many brutal scenes in films.
Especially in this show.
But when he tapes the VHS to his hand,
Oh,
Oh.
and then that was
Yeah.
fucking-
And there's that last one when she thinks he's done.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
He just goes back for one more.
because that's
Oh,
the
that's
that's one of the most brutal things. And I've seen everything.
The
That's
VCR
brutal.
over the head was pretty bad too.
That's brutal.
yeah, but that mostly that happens off camera. Like You
No,
don't
it does
see,
not.
Yes, it does. You don't see anything. You watch him hit her in the
That
head.
looked real, man. By the way, that looked totally
It
real.
looked real to me.
It did. I was wondering how they did that because I'm like, is that a rubber tape then? Because
Maybe he just hit her on the head with a VHS tape.
No, I think it's
a squishy VHS tape or Videodrome.
I think it's
I think it was. I think they made a rubber
it's
tape.
foam.
Oh, those
foam
prop
and
guys are
It's
amazing.
foam and sound effects.
Right, right.
Yeah, that was.
But that's
brutal.
and so that's the thing is you think you see him hit her with the VCR. What you see is her head's basically off camera, and he goes whack, and the sound effect is what sells it.
She's full on camera, dude.
Okay. I have to look at it again.
You don't see all of it.
You know, you're not going to watch that again.
No,
It was brutal.
It was.
you're right.
I liked it.
You're right.
No more or less than the rest of the.
I never thought a VHS could be that damaging. Like I was like, holy.
That's fucking hard.
You sharpen a
You're at
DVD down to a pointed thing.
It's got like tracking problems. But this is another level, dude.
Oh, you don't even need to do that. If you just break one in half,
Yeah, you're fine.
you got a nice sharp point on there. You're right for the
Exactly.
neck.
Oh, yeah.
That was my buddy's. Like I'm on a airplane that's getting hijacked. Plan was to take a CD and
Break
crack
a
it in half
CD.
and go after it.
That was what
Slice the
happened.
neck,
Let's
slice
try
the
stab with
neck.
MP3. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could beat the fuck out of somebody with an iPod.
True.
Like,
Especially the old school ones.
the ones that have the metal backs.
Yeah. That's pretty-
For a movie that was like anti-sexual, the pervert in me
Way of
was
putting
still
it.
like, this was kind of sexy.
Ew.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You know, Jared, I'm not going to disagree with you, man. They were going
Really?
somewhere. If it was a slightly different filmmaker with
Sex
a slightly
is
more
entirely
prurient point
mechanical
of
in
view,
this.
this would have actually been a
It's
really
like watching
bizarre.
I agree
Right.
with that.
It's like watching a frog get dissected.
The way sex is treated in this movie is mechanical.
Right.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with actual sex. The way the sex is treated in this film is just like it's reading a book.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we are viewers we're not in their world.
Mhm.
And so what we're seeing is sex treated this way by, vastly different sorts of scenarios.
Well, there's a reason.
So
that
part of
the-
me was like,
Fucking
this is
skin.
kind of like tantalizing in a weird way.
It's kind of
the older-
strange role play.
The
thing.
older daughter does not see a difference between licking a vagina and licking a shoulder.
I know.
Like sex is so mechanical to them
Right.
that
and unexplained.
But
Right.
also like,
Mhm.
the women are attractive. Like it's a thing. It's just yes, it's treated a certain way, but you still have like a perverse fucking reaction to it.
Right. I know. I know what you're getting at, and there's no good way of saying it, but I know what you mean.
I very rarely find sex scenes in movies to be sexy, and this was not one of them.
This is extremely unsafe.
That's funny. This is
opposite
actually
of
a living controversy right now out in the world by bringing back the Hays Code and things like that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, right.
I know that's I think this is deliberately, like I said, like watching a frog get autopsied or something.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at the color. Just look at the color palette. Everybody's looks like hell.
That scene in
Well,
the bathtub.
Look
that
at the
scene in
skin tones.
The whole thing is the palettes
Fucking
are all
cringe.
pasteled. It's all pulled back. The entire movie's like that.
Except when
This
they're
lush-
outside.
This
Yeah.
lush
the
background
outside
still kind
shots
of
are
like not
gorgeous.
the greenest green. It's still kind of pastel-y green.
But I love all the white. I love how he dressed them all in white the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the inside shots are so shallow
Mhm.
and flat. But
this is very the most.
the outside stuff is lush and
Yeah.
deep, and it's
Yeah,
weird.
this is very high key. The whole film's high key. It's like there's no
all high key, all
Yeah,
high key.
exactly.
There's no contrast in this fucking movie.
No, it isn't. And they actually knocked down the contrast a bit more to make it kind of feel flat, which is interesting.
Mhm.
All right,
But
well,
it's still beautiful. It's beautiful.
so we're gonna go with the cards on this one. Very much.
I liked it. It's fucked up, but I liked
It's
it.
fucked up, but I liked it quite a bit. All right, good enough.
I wish I liked it. I
great-
do. I
Yep.
really do. It's the same way I felt about Sacred Deer. Actually,
I think
wish
Tad
I liked
likes it.
killing.
He just doesn't want to admit it.
No.